In globalization, we are continuing, and this is the part of political science class 12th. And the topic that is taken today is resistance to globalization. Resistance means to oppose, not to accept, not to agree. Okay, we know that globalization is the inflow of an exchange of ideas, goods, commodities, technology from one country to the other for the purpose of development, especially the economic development. And besides that, other areas are also covered, like culture, also, political, also. Okay, but this idea is not favored or liked by all the people in all the countries. So, that is, we are going to see under this topic resistance to globalization. Okay, so as we know, globalization is a worldwide and contentious issue. You know, all the people in various countries do not welcome this and criticize it, and it is criticized on the basis of the following points or following people or the believers. First is of leftists. Leftists are, children, those believers or those people who favor or who look for the interest of the poor sections in the society. Okay, or they are pro poor. Pro poor means favoring or supporting the poor sections, and they want that their upliftment should take place, and for this the government must take the steps and initiatives. So leftists, as I have just told you, are those people who want the welfare and development of the poor and weaker sections of the society, and they want the government to make policies and programs for such sections or groups by having control on the economy of the country. Okay, and in globalization, the state does not have much control over the economy or means of production. There are MNCs, multinational companies. Okay, and we have done in the previous lectures also. So they are afraid that due to globalization, the power of the government or the state is reduced, and that may lead to the rich people to exploit the weakers economically. So they do not want this. Who? The leftists. Okay, so the leftists criticize on this basis only, and the leftists are pro poor people who look for the betterment and want the betterment and upliftment of the poor sections in the society. Okay, and for this they also argue that weakening of state's role reduces its ability to protect the interest of the poor. Now, because economy is not under the control of the government, there is capitalism, there is liberalization, and the state performs only the obligatory functions or main functions, and the economic functions are not there under full control of the government. So that is the reason. Now, the view of political rightists. Political rightists are, in a way, they are those people who focus on the development and who, in a way, are pro rich people. Okay, but that doesn't mean that they overlook or ignore the poor sections, but there is more attention is towards the economic development or the rich sections, so that all those who have, they can do more work or they can develop more easily. All right, but they are also not all the rightists are also not in the favor of globalization. We'll see why they also, not all but some of them, so why they also oppose this. The political rightists argue that politically Okay, politically, globalization weakens the state. They're not taking the economic aspect, okay, but they are opposing it because of the political reduction in the powers of the state. Okay, the government does not have control over all the spheres of our life, especially the economically, and this is due to the political reduction, that is not having the power legally or politically. So they argue that politically, है ना, politically globalization weakens the state, and economically they believe that it would enslave the countries. Okay, enslave the countries means that would make the countries dependent on other countries. Which type of countries? The weaker countries, the developing countries, or the countries that have not developed at all. So they would be depending upon other developed countries for all sorts of help, goods, production, technology. So they would not like to do anything on their own, thinking when they are getting all these things from other countries, why should they make any effort? So they are arguing on this basis also, such thing, globalization, would make the developing countries, poor countries, weaker countries dependent on developed countries and make them and make them their slaves, okay, or enslave such countries. And we also have some examples in our near neighborhood also. Some countries are such that are depending blindly on other countries, especially economically. Because they are economically depending, so it will automatically lead to political dependence also on rich countries or developed countries. All right. So they want to go back to self reliance and protectionism, okay, in where main economic areas. And for this only, children, I would like to quote this example, like our Prime Minister at present is doing the same thing in this direction by saying from globally to locally, or from global to local. And that means we should not depend upon other countries when we have good human resources, rich human resource and other natural resources, human as well as non-human resources, talent, skill, things. So why don't we produce, manufacture, make the things ourselves without depending on other countries? So we are focusing on what? Local from global. Now we take the third aspect, and that is cultural aspects. So believers of political rightists wing, they say that culturally also we have done this cultural consequences wala, ki that is heterogenization. Heterogenization means different cultures, they are replaced by homogenization, imposition of the culture of West on other countries. So they are saying because of globalization, our own culture is also in danger. Right? And they want to restore, preserve, practice our own age old traditions, culture, values, along with the traditional political culture also. Okay, and for this reason, some anti globalization movements coordinate at the global level, as they believe that protectionist globalization would lead to rise of imperialism. है ना? Imperialism, extension of the power, political, territorial power of rich countries over the poor countries. Alright, now we take the other topic, and that is World Social Forum. World Social Forum is the means or a place or a way to express such views. The World Social Forum, that is to protect the interest of developing countries. Okay, to protect the interest of developing countries, there were widespread protests made when the ministerial level meeting was taking place in the year 1999. And this was the meeting of World Trade Organization. So when this meeting was taking place, the protests were going on against the developed countries for the interest of the developing countries. Okay, and these protests were against the powerful, economically strong developed countries. Okay, so World Social Forum, that was made a broad coalition comprising of labor, youth, and women activists, environmentalists, human rights activists, okay, etc. And this forum or the group has also opposed neoliberal globalization. Neoliberal globalization means new form of imperialism. Okay, first the countries overtake the companies economy, and then they overtake the political power also. So the first meeting of WSF or World Social Forum took place or was held in 2001 in Porto Alegre, that is in Brazil. And in 2004, the fourth meeting was held in Mumbai in our own country. After that, in 2007, it took place in Nairobi, Kenya. Then after that, 14th meeting of this forum took place in Nairobi, okay, Kenya. Then 2015 Tunis. After that in Brazil, etc. Now I would like you also to look for the place and year when the latest meetings of this World Social Forum took place. Thank you.